to a brand new episode of In the Kitchen with the Breakfast Brothers. I'm Luscious Barbie and I'll be guiding through today's episode. I'm so excited to present today's guest. Today we have an exclusive episode with the actor Jarrell Pyro Johnson, and I got a secret. He's an actor from Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, so make sure you check that out. And Aaron Jackson of Onyx Legacy Group. But now, the moment that we've all been waiting for. The man in the kitchen, connecting the dots from entertainment to food, giving us wisdom every day. Give it up for our host, Ricky Booker.
Welcome back to a brand new episode of In the Kitchen with the Breakfast Brothers. I'm your host, Ricky Booker. There are so many things in the world that brings us together. Good food, a little bit of conversation does it every time. And In the Kitchen with the Breakfast Brothers, we love feeding your soul. Today's guest, he's a director of retail. Onyx Legacy Group, a full-service commercial real estate firm, 100% minority owned. Let's give a warm welcome for Aaron Jackson. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too. Appreciate you having me on.
Oh, yeah, every time, man. But we're going to jump right in this because I'm excited about this episode to talk to you about this. I'm going to tell y'all something. This gentleman right now, when it comes to commercial real estate, you can ask him any question about a crack in the corner of any property in Dallas-Fort Worth, and he knows about it. And sometimes I not necessarily test you. Sometimes I didn't know, and I asked you. He knew the person's name, who owned the property, what they was getting ready to develop it and turn it into, and it's just amazing when it come down to when I learned in business. They say you have to have product knowledge. Mm-hmm. The product knowledge you have is impeccable, man. It's I can keep giving you flowers about what it is you do all day long, but the one thing that I want to get into is doing how in the heck. Well, you was young, so I can get that. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about this fourth grade disaster with this pumpkin carving. I know I jumped from real estate to this to how exciting you was, but we're going to get to how you almost cut your fingers off.
Yeah, I was, one, I appreciate the kind words for sure. Definitely put in a lot of work to make sure that I had the knowledge and expertise to help people that I work with. But right. So fourth, I'll say this. I actually can cook breakfast okay. Right. Mm-hmm. I was in fourth grade, and my mom, she was working, and I would get home around 3 p.m. Mm-hmm. She would get home around 5 p.m. And it was holidays, and I was like, well, I'm gonna take some initiative here, and I'm gonna go ahead and carve this pumpkin. They gave it to us at school, so I'm gonna carve this pumpkin before she get home, and I'm gonna have it all nice, and I'm gonna show it to her. And so I got the knife. I got a butter knife. Mm-hmm. Got a butter knife out the cabinet. Start carving, and so you can still see it right there. You see that little mark?
Oh, so that's why you still know that fourth grade disaster.
Yeah, it's still right there. And it was a sharper butter knife, probably the sharpest butter knife you ever seen in your life.
Oh, you just pushed that hard for it to go through your hand.
Boom! I sliced my finger open. Blood everywhere. Fortunately, the next door neighbor was home. I was able to go over there, knock on the door, and she, I say I was probably going to pass out. I was probably exaggerating, but she was there. Miss Teakle, Chelsea Teakle's mom. I still remember her name. Everything. They called my mom and called the ambulance. Everybody came out. They patched me up, and I stayed out in the kitchen after that.
Well, man, we're going to get that to sit down and talk a little bit more about that, but in the time being, we're going to go back and see what Luscious got going on.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Luscious Barbie. I'm actually here at the restaurant at the Redbird location, and we gotta know what do the customers think about the food. So let's just find out. I'm here with John,
yes, indeed.
And
Drake,
and all right, y'all. And these two separate tables, but baby, because they together, we're gonna find out what they got. All right. So what did you eat?
I got chicken and French toast.
Chicken and French toast. Ooh, and the French toast. Let me tell you about it. It's not just no regular bread. Okay. The Breakfast Brothers is coming all the way with fresh bread from the bakery. It's flown in every week. I don't know if you got the exclusivity of the Breakfast Brothers, but you got it.
I had the special, the 2-egg special, and it was off the chain in Jesus' name. That's why I came to the Redbird Breakfast Brothers.
Okay, say it off the chain.
That's what I said.
All right. He ain't prepared for TV. Okay. And you got chicken chicken and waffles, classic. Chicken and waffles. She didn't have to do too much, okay? She just got chicken and the waffles because it's something for everybody. And what's your name? Danny. All right, Danny. How do they find you?
Her_REFLEXIOUT. I'm a hairstylist out here.
Okay, so you never know, because you can get your wig slick and you can get you some food. How do they find you?
I found them. I was hungry, looked over and saw the Breakfast Brothers. Heard Drake came in and just loved it.
So Drake brought
great
you.
service. And then
Drake, thank you for bringing him. How do we find you?
I'm not on this social media.
Okay. So Drake is out in the world scouting it out. He don't do social media, and that is an amazing thing. But you can follow our social media at _Breakfast Brothers on Instagram, Facebook, Breakfast Brothers, and you can go to www.breakfastbrothers.com. Download the app because you don't want to miss out. Until next time, peace out.
All right, we're here at the sit down with Aaron Jackson, and he ordered chicken and waffles, which is the #1 seller, the crack wings, and the lobster mac and cheese. And our lovely Tatiana is bringing it. He's kind of greedy today, y'all.
Well, you know, I mean, the wings I had been hearing about.
Yeah, yeah.
And then lobster mac and cheese is just one of my, favorite dishes, for sure.
Hey, Mr. Jackson.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. You ready for us to feed your soul?
I am. My soul is ready to be fed.
Enjoy.
Man, how do you ain't got no weight on you. How do you do all this food?
Now, honestly, man, I'm so active.
Oh, okay.
And then I eat. I'm one of those people who eat throughout the day, right? So something like this will probably last me till lunch tomorrow, right?
So not me,
So I'm not a big kind of.
And see, I gotta force myself to eat. I own a breakfast spot and gotta force myself to eat breakfast every morning.
Well, when you're busy, sometimes you forget to eat.
Well,
But I'm not gonna forget to eat right now.
I'm gonna let you go ahead and dig in.
See what these crack wings I've been hearing about.
Here we go. Moment of truth, y'all.
You got so many different flavors. I can see how people get addicted. I can definitely see how people get addicted to it.
They're really the honey lime wings, but we got the nickname as call them crack.
Man, it's what's this sauce? Is it honey lime?
Yeah, it's a honey lime. It's a honey lime sauce, but we nicknamed it crack because that's, people get, they order fried shrimp, buffalo shrimp, and they use it, get a side of crack sauce, and they dip the fried buffalo shrimp in it. You can put it on catfish. It has this flavor to where it has a sweet honey taste, addicting taste, and put together salt and honey and sweet together. That mixture, that combination is what draws it.
Man.
What we call our taste palette together. Tell us a little bit about how the redevelopment has and what it means to the community of Shops at Redbird.
Yeah, for sure. When I started working on the Shops at Redbird, me and Terrence, we knew each other. Terrence Maiden, he's the developer. Him and Peter Brodsky. One thing about those guys and Terrence and his company, Russell Glenn, they do this all over the country. Going into urban communities and revitalizing, the prized property in that community to spearhead growth outside of that development itself, right? And so that was something that spoke to me initially and said, because I was doing other things. I was representing some tenants, sold some buildings, things like that. But I wasn't doing anything that I felt like had an impact, right, on the communities they serve. And so I sat down with Terrence. He introduced me to Peter. We had a great conversation, and we all realized that our ethos was the same for the project. And, ever since then, it's really been, it's been an uphill battle, but at the same time, thanks to Breakfast Brothers and, a couple other, parts of the development, we've been able to start getting momentum, because people have seen your success at the development and said, okay, it must be something down there. Okay.
And that's something that's very important, is to understand if you invested into your brand in your restaurant, it makes a whole lot of difference. Sometimes you get a little leery about writing a check on some of the things that's important to you, but
It's not cheap.
it's not cheap. And sometimes it gets scary because at the end of the day, I put it this way, it may be no different than going to Vegas and putting it on a poker game or a crap game. It's like whatever it is that you want to do in life, it's one of the things, our producer and video production team, Dream with Dream Media, he says this a lot. And I got this from him. He said, if you build it, they'll come. Mm-hmm. Aaron, tell everybody how they can keep in touch with you, and if they want to know anything about and real estate and get commercial properties and get you to work with them, how can they get in touch with you?
You can reach out to me on LinkedIn. That's kind of where I'm most active at, just because it's a business platform.
Right.
Just Aaron Jackson on LinkedIn, Instagram, Aaron Jackson _214. Or you can email me at aaron@onyxlg.com, onyxlg.com.
And then if you get to the point where you decide that you missed all that, just call one of the Breakfast Brothers and ask for me, and I can get you in touch with Aaron Jackson too, because we still work pretty close finding other properties for Breakfast Brothers. And if you want anything that you see and hear that Aaron's eating, crack wings, waffle, lobster mac and cheese, on the menu at Breakfast Brothers. We're there in Arlington at 130 East Bardin Road, open 6 days a week, closed on Tuesday, 7 a.m. and 4 p.m. Brand new location in Oak Cliff. We open 5 days a week, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. at 3704 West Camp Wisdom Road, Dallas, Texas. Our next guest, he's an actor, a musician, a director, and newly found financial coach. Let's give a warm welcome for Jarrell Pyro Johnson.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks
Pretty
for having
good.
me.
Thanks for coming, brother. All right. How was the food? I know you ate first. You were supposed to say that for the
Man,
shot.
it was so good, man.
What you end up getting?
I got the chicken and waffles, but I enhanced my chicken and waffles
Okay.
with your fabulous 3 sauces. And I mean, it was amazing.
Been now you grew up in Compton, in LA.
Born and raised.
Now I'm gonna put it this way: scale Roscoe's chicken and waffles with Breakfast Brothers.
Oh,
What
why
think?
you do that to me?
I got to, man. You stepping out of your culture, so I got to.
Oh man, as a Californian, I don't know if I'm allowed to answer that.
You're allowed to be honest. If you tell me mine is worse than theirs,
No,
I'm
no,
good.
it's not worse at all.
Yeah.
No, I
Okay.
think, actually, to be honest, on some levels, I think the sauce-wise, it's better.
Okay.
You got that.
Okay.
Actually, well, I don't know, Southern food is just, I don't know, it's a whole other thing, man.
All right, we'll leave it at that then. We'll leave it at that then. What we've been saying that, growing up in Compton, what's the challenges growing up in Compton? What did you have?
The biggest challenge is the glass ceiling effect. Mm-hmm. And what that is pretty much saying, like, you can go out, but you always feel like you're trapped.
Right.
So you can see it, but it's like you don't know how to get out. And then the mindset, because Compton has been viewed so badly,
Right.
not only by everyone, but by the people that live here, they don't expect no one else to grow. So it's kind of like crab in a barrel mentality. So everyone is trying to pull everyone down. So that's pretty much how it works.
So when it comes to that, that's understandable when it comes to that. From LA, being from LA, and understanding that. Now in the culture, West Coast. I'm very much so West Coast influence when it comes to music because I'm originally from Oklahoma City, and they still are West Coast influence.
Yeah.
So I see that you used to be into the rap and the musical side of things too. Let's talk a little bit about how you transitioned in that.
Well, I actually started, like you said, I was into making music. The biggest struggle I had with making music was finding a way to get a newer audience because I knew times were changing and everyone was going into video.
Right.
So the biggest issue was, how do I get someone to make my music become a video? Mm-hmm. That was hard for someone from Compton who also didn't have any money, who grew up in a middle-class family.
Right.
So what I did is, to be honest, I don't even remember how it started, but I know for a fact, I can't tell you 1 through 10, but I could tell you 8 through 10. Mm-hmm. What I did is, I figured out how to make my own videos because no one was willing to do it for me. So when that happened, I did it on YouTube. And as I did on YouTube, it was like putting myself out there to the world. And one thing led to another. What basically happened is a manager found me and said, hey, you should act. You have a good look. And I'm like, I don't know anything about acting. And she's like, no, just try it. And literally, Yao Ming's story to Gary Coleman, that's how it literally happened. I just literally made a music video, and next thing you know it, I was told to be an actor, and everything has just been rolling.
Man, there's something, so the music side of things, doing your own music video, transitioning to that. That's big because, you know, a lot of times people have directors and they have people tell them how to shoot videos and tell them how to do it. So that's very big. So was she an acting coach, or did you just jump right in and then start doing it?
I just jumped in. I mean, some people are just born with it, I guess.
Right.
I mean.
Right, that normally that happens. You know, it always get to the point where, you know, DJ Khaled made the song now, God did. Yeah, God did. So when it comes to the point where all the distractions, I call them distractions, that you want to do are usually distractions from what God wants you to do.
What you do, right.
So when it's in you, it's always there, you just don't know it. So once you find that thing that captivates, like you did with acting, and when it finally came to you, what was the first movie or the first film that you premiered in?
The first film, it's actually still on Amazon Prime right now, and in some Walmarts I saw the other day, which was really shocking, because we did this in 2016. It's called Glass Jaw. It's a boxing movie, and in the movie, I play like a bouncer. Boosie Badass, the rapper, is in it. And he was like, man, like, you big, like, we should just call you Big Leroy. And I'm like, okay. And I don't know, one thing led to another. He was like, man, you're good. And then I met people on that set, which led me to other sets, and it was literally a domino.
That's just what I said.
Yep.
Again,
exactly. Yep.
Once it's there for you and the direction is there, you can't change that.
Yep, but
you just gotta be obedient and stay with
exactly.
it.
Exactly.
So, you know, so now that you're in the acting side of things, do you actually have to have coaches or some type of training when it comes to that?
Well, I mean, you're not supposed to, but it's always good to always have help. I mean, it's very important to have help. So any way I can get help, like I'll go do it. You know, like if I reach out to an acting coach or reach out to YouTube, usually is a good one right now. Or some books. Right. Acting for Dummies is really a good book.
Right. And they got a lot of those books they got down there. Acting for Dummies. They got dummies on all of them.
Man, I love the dummies.
Yeah.
I love the dummies.
So, okay, you was in the musical side, the entertainment side, then you transition into the acting, but now you're actually a financial coach.
Now that one's fun.
Right.
That's fun.
That's because there's money attached to it.
Oh yeah.
It's always fun when you got money attached to it.
That's actually I think I'm more passionate about that now than anything. Mainly because what I realize is sometimes when you go out, when you want to be an actor, a lot of actors nowadays, they struggle. And the biggest thing they struggle with is money.
Right.
It's one thing to be a good actor, but it's another thing when you can't get to do the acting. So my thing was like, well, how do I make it where I get to do the acting? So what I did is I started working with credit cards, which was like, oh God, not a credit card. But that's how I learned. So I don't know, my brain works a little different. And to find a way to explain it to make it make sense, I was just saying, well, it's like asking my mother back when I was a kid, like, hey, I wanted to go do something. I would have to ask her for money to do it. Right. Because that was the only way I would get there. So I would figure credit cards are a way you can ask for money from a bank to go do what you love. So in my mind, I'm thinking like, well, hey, if I can ask somebody to give me money to go double that money, it just makes sense. Right. And everything things start clicking. And then after that, I started helping a few of my family members and my cousins. And next thing you know it, people were like, well, you should charge for this. Like, we'll pay you for your information. And I'm like, all right.
Yeah. And it's so simple. Yeah. Everything it seems like is the way you just explained it when I'm talking
really
to you.
Simple.
It's becoming so simple to you because at the end of the day, I always go reflect back to God, man. When He has determination for that individual, if you pay attention to what He's got going on, it makes it so much easier.
And the thing is when you follow the plan, things will keep flowing. But when you divert, excuse me, I can't spoke today. When you divert from the plan, that's when bad things or things that are not supposed to happen. That's when you get the Job. Right. That's when Job comes up.
I call it straddling the fence. You're on one side and on the other side, and you ain't configuring which way you want to go. So at the end of the day, that's amazing, man. You know, and the big question is of all this whole ordeal, because man, you know, it's one of the top films from ever. Was that 2021? 2020?
2018.
Yeah, 2018.
Yep.
To where you're at now. Let's talk about how that manifested you becoming in one of the top films in that I'm just gonna say in the world.
Yeah.
Pre-sales been going on for what, 3-4 months?
Yeah.
They probably have the top pre-sales movie ever.
Oh, it's the best Marvel movie
Yes.
of the last 3 years.
Yes.
So basically how that happened, it's very interesting. I remember watching Black Panther 1. I was always a comic person. My father wasn't really around as a kid, so he left me with comics. So I like to say comics kind of raised me.
Right.
So I was into comics like heavy. What was cool about that is that Black Panther this is before I knew there was a Black Captain America. Before I knew there were other Black heroes. You know, I just saw Black Panther.
Right.
So it was cool. So to me, when the movie came out, I was like, man, this is a realization. Like, they made this a thing. So what I decided to do is me and my friend, we used to do YouTube skits back in the day. We decided to do a YouTube. It's on YouTube now. Hopefully they didn't take it down. And because it's not nude, but I don't have clothes on.
Right.
I have shorts on, but no one knows that. But whatever, I said it. So basically it was called How to Be Black Panther. And the whole concept was, I don't know if you remember in the trailer, the first one, how they said, just don't freeze. And he said, oh, I never freeze.
Yeah, I never
so
freeze.
what I did is I went outside and I put a mask on and I did this. And he was like, what are you doing? I said, I'm becoming Black Panther. And he was like, bro, you're gonna freeze. And I'm like, I never freeze. Right?
So it went
That's
viral.
the concept.
It went viral.
I don't even think it went viral, to be honest.
Right.
I probably was the only one who watched it. But the fact is God watched it.
Right.
And the cool thing about that is I manifested it. So when Black Panther came and I was offered the opportunity to do one thing, not even the thing that I am doing, I was like, of course. This is like you said, it's another way of God saying this is where you go. So as soon as I hit set, I felt like I belonged there. Like it felt home. This is the only set I've ever been on where I didn't feel nervous about doing anything. Like I just felt like I belonged there. And that was because I manifested.
Right.
You know, and I followed the will of God, you know. And I'm big on the law of harmonious rhythm. It's like the law of gravity to me. So whatever you give the harmony it will be repeated back. So if you give it out negative will turn bad. But if you got positivity will come back positive and more and abundantly. So me, it was just like, yes. Black Panther, yes. I don't care what you want me to sweep the set.
You say extra, do whatever.
Whatever you want me to do. And from there, things have just been going crazy.
So how was the energy just being a superhero on that once they start filming to get in the character to do something like that? How was that?
I always feel like a superhero my whole life.
So you was already in you.
Yeah.
You look like one already. So
I try. I work out like almost every day.
I'm gonna say, how did you? Were you already defined this way, or you had to become your body structure and all that had to become for the character?
Well, I worked out a lot because I used to play football in college. I went to Hampton University.
Okay.
HBCU, you know.
Yeah.
But the thing is I always worked out, so it was mentality. 2020, when we started shooting, I was a little on the fluffier side, to say the proper word. And it just didn't look right, but because they just wanted somebody big.
Right.
But I was like, I want to be like,
lean and
I want to be like Captain America, like Black Panther. Like, you know, I want to be that. So my goal was to be that. So for the next, as we were shooting, I was just in the gym every day. I changed my diet. I was only eating 1 meal a day. Because I see Terry Crews did it. So I was like, Terry Crews can do it, and look at him.
Yeah, and he's 55.
Right. So I'm like, if he do it, let me follow his footsteps.
Right.
So, and that's what we did. And then I just got big, and then everything else just came. Mentality came. Everything just came good. Like, once my health got right, everything just worked. So I was like, this is where I need to be. Back to following God's plan.
Yeah.
It was just like, I just need to keep, body was a temple. And that's how
At any time on set, how many people would be around at the time?
Over 300 to 400 people. Wow. It was huge, almost every day. And the funny thing is, it switched almost every day. Where it's like you think you know someone's name. It's like, aren't you John? No, I'm Mike. I'm like, oh,
it totally changed.
Yeah.
So many people come through in and out.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
So, out of one thing, what could you say you can give back to the viewers of your experience of shooting this film before it's getting ready to release?
I think that it hits. I don't know. I kind of I mix that up with the feeling of it. Like. The feeling of it is so impactful. And don't get me wrong, man, Black Panther 1 will always be my favorite Black Panther.
Right.
Because, I mean, Chadwick is amazing. He was amazing as Jackie Robinson. He was amazing as James Brown.
Yeah.
Whatever he plays, he was
a young Denzel Washington.
Yeah, like, and I tell people he made it an 8 to a 15. So I just don't want people to go in there expecting to feel the same feeling of Black Panther 1. I want them to feel a more expanded version of the Black culture.
Right.
More so than the Black individual that enhanced the Black culture, if that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense.
So that's what I would say. Just expect it to be everywhere. And it feels so relatable in what we're going through right now in our time. It's weird how things just, God's time, it's everything just flows the way it's meant to be.
You mentioned him. How was the emotions when it come to the just say the part that he may be supposed to be doing at the time? Did anybody ever get emotional where they had to cut sometimes?
Yeah, but what made it really even more emotional was we lost a great actress, Dorothy Steele.
Oh, man.
And that hurt because she was in the first one, and she was also in this one, or some scenes. There's some newer scenes, but she felt like a grandma. And I lost my grandma not too long ago, from cancer.
Right.
But it felt like my grandma was there talking to her. And I mean, and this is not to take away from Chadwick's impact, because I feel like everyone had a different impact from Chadwick because they worked with him.
Right.
I've never met him personally,
Right.
but I felt his spirit and his presence there just through the other actors and the filmmakers. But Dorothy Steele was like Chadwick for me, because it was like, man, like I'm literally working with someone that like, and the cool thing about, she told me, I believe she was 85, 87, and her first role was Black Panther 1, so she had to be about 83 then.
Right.
So she said, just don't stop, no matter how old you get. If it's meant to be, it'll be. If you believe it, bring it. And that's all she needed to do. And I don't know, I'm not sitting here and trying to make it all about me, but I feel like one of her main goals was the talking.
Well, the thing is about it, you got to understand, Jarrell, I interview a lot of people for my show. And sometimes a lot of people, I ask them questions, they don't actually know about their own business and concepts sometimes. Right. And I vibe off of energy. So if your energy wasn't already here, present for me to continue to ask these questions, so, I get my bullet points from my staff, and sometimes I freestyle them after I see them. So it's kind of like what we did too. So she's right, you got to keep going, because at the end of the day, the amazing thing that happened with you getting in Black Panther was just the beginning. The absolute thing that's going to overcome that, you don't even know what that is yet, because of the man that you are, and the human being that you are, and what you've done, and everything's been yes, yes, yes. You just got to keep going, man. And I'm looking forward to the new movie. I'm looking forward to seeing you on the big screen. And
I am too.
And said, I know that guy. I know that guy.
I'm excited.
Man, it's big. But man, I thank you for coming on set. Man, just many more in the future, much more, and let's keep in touch.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you as well. If you want he had chicken and waffles. If anything that you want on the menu, we're here 7 days a week in our new location, Oak Cliff, at 3704 West Camp Wisdom, Dallas, Texas, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Location number 1, we close on Tuesdays. Open 6 days a week there, 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. 130 East Bardin Road, Arlington, Texas. Each and every Saturday right here on CW33, our sister station in Oklahoma City, Freedom 43. See you guys next week.